Hi, I'm Tom Lynch, and I wanted to offer you this brief tutorial on how to connect your mBot to the mBlock software, which can be, when we're doing the project mBots, it tends to be the kind of the part of it that frustrates people the most, etc. So I just wanted to take a couple minutes to kind of walk you through that and show you how it works. So let's do that. So right now, what you're looking at is you're looking at the mBlock software. You do want to make sure it's the most up-to-date version because sometimes that can create issues. And then what I'm looking at over here on my desk is I've got the USB cable kind of hooked up to the mBot. So what you have to make sure you do is it goes into, the USB usually goes into this one here. It'll say USB. Sometimes folks who are working with these for the first time, they think all of these other inputs is where it goes, and you're actually not connecting it. So that's what's happened here. And then I'm going to turn this on, and you'll hear him go beep, right? Just like that. So that's great. So now you've got the software loaded, and you have the Scratch software up, mBlock up, and you have the robot connected. But that's just hardware, right? So now you actually have to write a program that can get sent to the mBot and can allow it to work. So here's that piece, and it's a little tricky with this. So let's look a little more closely. So up here, what you see is you've got all of these. Oops, there we go. You have all of these options kind of up in the corner of the screen here. You're going to go to connect, and you're going to go to serial port. And then when you're under serial port, there's kind of you'll either see a lot of stuff like this or you won't. It kind of depends on how you've connected to things before. You'll probably see less, but as long as the robot's on, you should see these ones here that have serial, the word serial in them. Okay, and these are the ones you want to focus on. So I'm going to try this one first because I forget which one it might be. And I'm listening to see if the robot makes a little beeping sound. And if it doesn't, then I'm going over to this other one and I'll try that one. Did you hear that? So that was it connecting. Now what you'll also notice up here, if you were watching here, this changes when you're connecting it. So this will change too. It'll say serial port connected. It's not saved, meaning you haven't saved a new program yet per se, but it does mean that it's connected. So right now, everything should be it should be connected pretty well. So you should be in good shape. Now the next thing you need to do is you have to actually, that's all well and good, but you have to actually send a program over to it in order for it to do something. So to do that, you come up over here. There's a whole bunch of ways actually to do this, and I'm sure I'm actually not doing it super well. One of the ways that I do it is you can upgrade the firmware actually, which will it kind of resends everything over to it. So this is always a good thing to do. Zoom in there a little bit. If you're running into trouble, is make sure that you've upgraded the firmware. You can view the source as well as another way I do it, and that will whoops, it was not view source. That's it should be. Let me see over here. It's not view source. Which one was it? We can go into Arduino mode, and then sometimes you can upload to Arduino the program that's written in here. So this is the language that it's using. This is the graphic interface. So you just press upload to Arduino. It's connected to the serial port. So you should see a little uploading button there. And then it should all upload. See? And you can kind of see it working over here. And it's starting the upload, it's sending all of this stuff. And then when it's done, usually, or sometimes you'll hear a little beep from the bot. Right now you didn't, but sometimes you'll hear that. All right. So that is another way to kind of send your program. And so right now mine is still not working. So I'm pressing the buttons because I have a little program here, and it's not doing what I want it to do. So if that's the case, then I can also, this is where, remember I said before, a little, one way that you can kind of troubleshoot would be to upgrade the firmware, which it looks like it just did. You could try installing the Arduino driver. That's also a way to do it. Let's see, why is this guy not working? And as you can see, oh, it's disconnected. So when I did the So you see how I just noticed that here? Because it actually should be working at this point. So I noticed that when I did the update, I updated the it did the firmware as well as sent the program over, but then it disconnected it from the bot. So now all I have to do is go over here. I'm going to press this one again. We should get a little beep. Didn't get the beep, but I see that it's connected over here. So I should be able to do some things, and this guy should work. And he's not working. Getting upgrade firmware. I'm just going to do that. Let's do that here. Doing it super fast. We could go into like why some of this tends to troubleshoot and tends to fix things, but we won't on this video. We're just going to wait for this guy to be done. We got the beep, and now you hear that? Now the down arrow is like working when I press it. Okay, spacebar. I press the spacebar. I'm getting some lights, which is also kind of good. These programs are actually not totally helpful, meaning there's little mistakes actually, which is fine. You can figure that out. So the other thing I'll just say before finishing up the video is just to review, this is the Scratch environment that's been kind of customized for working with the mBots. Most of what you'll use for this project will be under events and will be under robots. Those are the main two that you would use. There's some other stuff that folks kind of get into that you can kind of play around with, but it's mostly those two. When you're connecting, you come up over here to serial port and you look for one of the ones that say serial in them. When you connect the right one, the mBot for the first time, especially the mBots Go, is probably going to beep. So that'll be your hint, okay? And then there's a few ways that you can kind of update everything to make sure that the program you're writing is connected. And so the ways to do that are, one, you create a program over here, and then you can go over to Arduino mode, as we did before, and you could try uploading to Arduino manually. When you do that, the connection might break, which is what we saw before. So if that happens, then you have to reconnect it up over here, right? Just reestablishing that connection. And if that doesn't work and everything else is connected and should be looks right, then you could also upgrade the firmware, which sometimes, as you can see here, will solve most problems. Now, if you're really if you do that relatively quickly and you get it to work, which is great, then the other thing you can then start to play with is how to connect it to Bluetooth. If your mBot has Bluetooth, which the ones that we use for BardBots do. So if you're trying to connect it to Bluetooth, you do have to turn on your own Bluetooth. If you start looking for devices, then it should have a robot or mBlock, or mBot should come up as one, or MakeBlock might come up as one of the options. If you're doing it in a room with lots of other people who also have mBots, then what you're going to find is that lots of them start coming up. So you might want to do some of this away from other people. The trick with that, and it's super tricky, way more tricky than it should be. The trick with that is you actually don't use the Bluetooth, even though it gives it to you as an option. That's what I have found. You actually have to come over here, and you're going to find one of the options to connect to will have these letters EL, ET, SPP in them. It's through that you end up actually connecting to the Bluetooth. I'm not sure why that is, and it's obviously something that needs to be fixed. But that's the way that's kind of the way it is right now. So I hope this is useful, and have fun.